Today on Portland Tea Party, it's the PitchBlack episode. Sorry, we're starting on CPT. That's Ciara Pressler time. This is Portland Tea Party. You all already know who Stephen Green is. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
This is our exclusive pre-PitchBlack interview with Stephen Green. Stephen, when, where, why, who? PitchBlack.
PitchBlack will be on Wednesday, February 7th. Where will be the Research Center for Performing Arts. Who will be 19 amazing Black-owned businesses that we're going to be highlighting, including Mr. OK's Essentials, where we're at today, where we're going to highlight and introduce people in the community to these amazing Black entrepreneurs that we already have in our ecosystem. So super excited.
I love it. Give us the background of this event. A lot of people have heard of PitchBlack, but they may not know how it all got started. So what was the dream?
Yeah, so back in 2015, saw some new recent data around that there was 3,000 Black-owned businesses in the state of Oregon, which blew me away. Longtime banker, longtime advocate for Black and brown businesses here, but that was an astounding number to me. So I was wondering what would be something that I could do to support them. At the time, Shark Tank was pretty popular. America's Funniest Home Videos, pretty popular. And so if you take the two of them and put them together, where you've got people pitching their ideas, and then an audience that's voting for the winners, you've got PitchBlack. And so we did our first event at the Oregon Public House in the ballroom up there back in 2015.
Oh, wow.
This is our eighth one here. We've done events in Seattle, Philadelphia, and Austin over the years. And it's been an amazing way to introduce ecosystems to the businesses that are in their midst and then give them some money. So over the years, we've given almost $500,000 to Black businesses here in Oregon. And it's been awesome to see the things that they've accomplished over the years. Here in Portland, that we've had 74 people hit the stage. They've gone on to raise over $55 million for their ideas.
That's astounding. Yeah. Thank you for that contribution to the entrepreneurial community.
Just trying to do my part, yeah. Yeah,
well, I think an outsized version, but you're inspiring other people to then go and do their part as well as me. Thank you. I appreciate that. So we're at the Reser this year.
Really nice space, gorgeous. It's been open less than 3 years. Miss Reser actually invited us to come back. She was at last year's event. The event ended. She was there backstage. It was like, hey, I'd love for you to come back next year. How do you turn that down? So we're back there again. And as two folks that grew up in Beaverton, it's really cool to go back to the place that we grew up and bring our whole community there.
Yeah, Stephen and I, you graduated high school the same year as me, I think, 96?
95.
95, okay. And we went to high schools like down the street from each other, but we never met until like 2016, 17.
Yeah,
when I came, so that's pretty cool to have that in common. And then the Research is in Beaverton. It's not in Portland.
Yep.
But hey, it's a great venue. They they competed for our attention. And I say our because full disclosure, I'm on the advisory committee for PitchBlack, and I also get to MC the event.
Yes, best decision we've ever made was bringing in Ciara as the MC. Just definitely took the event up another rung. So, so happy to have you part of it.
Yes. The event is sold out. So right now you're probably searching for tickets. You're like, I have to be there, but it always sells out every year.
Yes, this is our 8th sellout in a row. It's selling out a little earlier now, even though we're getting bigger and bigger venues. So though we'll have 600-ish people join us next week, tickets sold out about 3 weeks in advance of the event. So super excited, great problem to have, and help us think about what we're going to do next year for another venue that can house a few more people.
Well, great news. I have 2 extra tickets and I am giving them away today. So all you have to do is comment on our episode post on Instagram. So go to Instagram at Portland Tea Party and look at our episode 4 PitchBlack episode post and just write in the comments, tag who you want to bring. And we are giving away 2 tickets this weekend to PitchBlack. So there's still an opportunity to be there.
And we will throw in 2 T-shirts from
What?
PitchBlack
Thank you.
on top of that for your guests.
I love that. Well, give us a little bit of an idea of the types of businesses we can expect to find there, because I think, there's this idea of like, oh, there's no Black people in Oregon. Oh, there's only a few Black-owned businesses in like the Portland area, but that's not true. And I think the spectrum of types of businesses and ideas that are being fleshed out are really remarkable.
Yeah, I think this is one of the things that we love about the event is, as of today, we have over 6,000 Black-owned businesses according to the U.S. Census Bureau, and they do everything. We have creative agencies, we have people making beer, we have distilleries, we've got a drone company here in town who's one of our alumni as well. And so it's a real great opportunity for people to come and just refresh their perspective on what it means to be a Black business here in Oregon and meet some amazing people doing some really, really awesome things. And so all the folks that you'll be meeting next week at the event are currently in business, currently selling their products, selling services, and adding customers every day. And so it'll be a great way for people to learn more about their story and their products and why they're doing what they're doing.
And people can see who's going to be on stage now on the website pitchblackpdx.com.
Yep.
And then also on Instagram, you've been posting each one of them. What's the Instagram?
Instagram is also PitchBlackPDX.
Okay, so follow that to see everybody who's going to be on stage this year, and you can see who's won in the past and what the event looks like and the feel of it. It's just like electric. It's the best vibes ever.
It's great. It's great. This year, thank you again for being part of the advisory committee. We had over 200 applications for the event. More than 140 of those applications came from outside of Oregon. So we got 4 applications from Connecticut. We had people in Florida, people in Boston reaching out. And so the group that we ended up with, 10 amazing founders, 8 of those from here in Oregon. Of those 8, 1 is from Salem, the rest are from Portland. And then we got 2 amazing folks that the committee chose from Oakland, California, that just happens to be in the same city. So really, really excited about the mix and where people are coming from.
It's going to be amazing. It's something I look forward to every year. And, we start talking about it and planning for it months in advance. In a way now for next year. So a lot of work goes into this. Is it your full-time job, Stephen?
It is not. My full-time job is I'm the executive director for Business for a Better Portland, where we support local businesses here in Portland and help advocate for them and connect them with other things in the community. So super excited. And this is definitely a connection to the stuff that I would normally be doing, just volunteering my time. And so it's been great to do. And it's been really great to connect with like-minded folks. And we have a bunch of amazing sponsors that want to see this work go forward. Oregon Community Foundation, Porcano, Nike, Instrument, Autodesk, so many companies, big and small, that are really helping us push things forward.
Yeah, and I want to shout out the sponsors in that this is not the kind of event where people walk in and there's a step and repeat with all the logos and it's like sponsored by and there's the sponsors are secondary to the people showcasing their businesses. So this is really about, do you want to authentically invest in the Black community?
Yeah. It's been really great over the years. We probably turn down more in sponsorship than we take in.
Wow.
And everything always starts with a conversation around, tell us about the work that you're already doing with Black businesses, and then see if we can find a match from there. And so it's been great to see ourselves grow, but also our sponsors and partners grow along their journey in supporting Black businesses here in Oregon. And it makes for a really, really authentic set of stuff where all of our presenters, I hope, really feel welcomed and loved and have people that not only want to be seen with them, but really want to see them win. So
great. Everyone stay tuned the next few days because you're going to be hearing more new things about what's going to be happening at the event. So be sure you're following PitchBlack PDX on the Insta, LinkedIn. Stephen always is posting up to the minute about everything that's going on, so follow him. And when we're back, Stephen and I are going to spill the tea about being a Black entrepreneur in Portland. one of the competitors, showcasers in PitchBlack this year, so you're going to want to check them out on stage as well as come in person. You get to make your own bespoke candles here. It is like, I cannot
so great
communicate the smell of how beautiful it is in here. And we're going to have some bonus content for you showing that process. So definitely check out our YouTube page and stay tuned for that as well. Stephen, let's spill the tea. We are behind the scenes. Let's just like list some of the, you are the executive director of Business for a Better Portland. Boards, you're on some boards.
On Built Oregon's board. I am on the board for Oregon Black Pioneers. I just finished a 6-year stint on the Oregon Growth Board for the governor. And then I'm still on the advisory board for Portland's affordable housing bond.
And you do some work outside of Portland too with like talking with investors and...
Yeah, I do some advising for small, medium-sized venture firms here on the East Coast and in California as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you do it? You also have 3 kids.
I've always been busy. I was the person who had a full-time job while in college, and so I guess my answer whenever I'm asked that is like, I don't know anything different. And so it's also fun because all the things I do, I get to expose my kids to.
Yeah.
And so our oldest is a senior in high school, but shockingly or not shockingly, she's decided to start her own business.
Oh, I know, and
during
she's
the pandemic.
killing it, yeah.
And I think that's definitely due to the fact that both myself and my wife are entrepreneurs. And so to see that and to continue to feed that fire for her and our other kids is great.
I love that. So talk a little bit about your background and your career and what made you so passionate about not just caring about these small businesses, but taking action to support them.
Yeah, I think my degree's in economics from Western Oregon University, go Wolves. Both my parents were entrepreneurs. My dad was a high school dropout, my mom, software engineer. So I got to see them up front and personal do their careers. But for myself, I always navigated in numbers and the power of numbers. So I started as a banker, I was in investments, and I was a financial advisor. And somewhere along the way, I just fell in love with helping people with their journey of being an entrepreneur. And when things got really big, I wasn't excited about that. But if Ciara called me and was like, hey, I have this idea that I want to start, ooh, that would pique my interest. And so I was always part of that journey, and then just learning more about the data behind it. So, one of the things we don't think about is, how big of an impact it makes where we choose to buy our coffee or buy our candles. Today in Portland alone, people will spend $7.2 million just on food, right?
Wow.
So let's say you decide every day during Black History Month, we're going to spend that money on food from a Black-owned restaurant or go and support a Black-owned grocery store. Those things have a really, really big outsized impact. And I think oftentimes we think it's investors or banks that are doing it, but it's really us. It's us, the customers, that really have the outsized impact when it comes to supporting businesses.
You did a TED Talk a few years ago, TEDx Portland, the most amazing event, and we're going to link that in our show notes as well. And it was about how much, it just blew my mind. It was about how much supporting local makes a difference in terms of the local economy. Like, I get that money back in a way when I support local. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so my TED Talk was about, really identifying why small is so big and going into not only the data, but really the perspective of, when we think about Portland, we don't think about big businesses. We think about, the iconic small businesses that define the city. Dead Stock, Salt and Straw, Porque No. Yeah. These are the businesses that we align with our identity, and these are the places that we go to on first dates, or if we have special loved ones in town that we want to show them the town. These are the places that we go, and these are the places that we need to support as we continue to want to, grow the city and really continue to build our brand as an organization, as a city. The other thing is, when we're doing that, we're spending a crap load of money. It has a big impact.
Yeah.
Dead Stock not only makes their own coffee, but they have other businesses that they support. And so when we go and support them, they're also taking that money and putting it into dozens of other local businesses that get help as well.
I didn't think of that. Like if I'm buying from a big global brand, they're getting everything produced in their factories wherever they are, maybe in the US, probably overseas. And so when you shop with a local vendor, including service businesses, which I think people don't think about so much, and I'll touch on that in a second, but we're using vendors that are also local, so that money is just dollars circulate, as Rhapsody would say.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's great to see. I mean, even some of the larger companies do it themselves. I think Nike's a pretty good example. There's over 1,000 businesses that exist in Oregon just because Nike's here, and Nike's using them to build displays, print their paper materials, buy their toilet paper on campus,
Yeah.
all these things that maybe we don't think about if we're in a Stanford MBA class, but these are large businesses that are employing hundreds, if not thousands of people around the state.
And the overflow, because a lot of Nike alumni, Intel alumni, people who've been at these big companies, they break off and start their own business like Mr. OK.
Yep. We'll have 3 former Nike employees on the stage this week. And it's great. I mean, you have an amazing large brand like Nike that prepares people, but at some point, oftentimes people understand, like, I'm a brand, and I can either stay here at a large company, or I can go off on my own for a little while and maybe come back to Nike. And so it's really great to see how much talent has been grown here by working through larger companies that then turns into the next Salt and Straw or Dead Stock or whatever.
We've now mentioned the swoosh about 7 times, so I'm just going to say they don't sponsor us, but I mean, get it together. Go, it's like pocket change for you.
Opportunities not.
Swooshy. So let's talk about some of the things that we talk about when no one's listening. So one of those things is, and you and I may have different opinions on this, like, how do we best support turning an idea into an actual business that actually pays people's salary? Because I feel that, well, first of all, a lot of the business support programs in Portland, maybe almost all of them are nonprofit, and they get grants in order to support those businesses. And sometimes those grants are contingent that, you're helping a certain number of like traditionally underfunded or underprivileged businesses. Yeah. But I feel like a lot of those programs either have outdated information or they focus just on getting capital, investors, loans, and everything like that. Whereas, in the pregame model, my company, when we have done accelerator work, it really focuses on how can you make revenue, keep money, market, sell. So, I obviously feel like that's more important. I know that's not possible for like a business that needs inventory. They need a loan for that. But how are you feeling about the ecosystem of resources that turn ideas into actual businesses? Like, how are we doing, do you think, compared to other places?
Well, I think we do a great job of helping businesses start. I wish from a holistic landscape standpoint, we spent more time helping businesses scale and think about the threats that are impacting their business. If you ask a founder, what their biggest issue is, more than likely they're going to say access to capital, right?
Yeah.
That access to capital is generally not a loan or an investment. It's actually really customers, right? So 23% of U.S. businesses will ever get a loan. 0.03% of U.S. businesses will ever get equity of any kind, right? So the normal way that businesses go and move forward is they take the money they got and they add it with this thing called customers. And so what I would love to see more of a focus on is when we sit down with that business who's getting ready to start or who's been in business 5 years, we immediately start with, all right, who are your customers?
Yeah.
Who's your competition? Why do your customers choose you? What are your margins on the customers that you have today?
Yes.
What are the margins that you're going to have on the customers you have tomorrow? And what does it cost for you to acquire those customers? And so how do we have more of our resources going to help organizations that help people have those conversations and navigate those things and help founders not only get answers to the questions they have, but maybe help them ask the questions they don't know to ask.
Yeah.
And then help them understand like the biggest funder of your business is ultimately going to be customers.
Yes.
And if you don't have those, it doesn't matter that you got a loan. It doesn't matter that you got an investment. It's going to prolong the inevitable. And so we've got some great people that do that already. I'd love to see some more cultural competence around those resources where we're really helping people, scale businesses. One of the big things that we saw, and the reason why I think Black businesses were the most likely businesses to go out of business during the pandemic is we're the least likely businesses to have websites, right?
That's shocking to me. Like, it's so easy these days to make a website, and there's so many resources for that.
Yeah. I think for a lot of founders, Black, white, or otherwise, they think that's a nice to have. It's not a priority to
Wow,
have. And
yeah.
I think one of the things people have learned with the pandemic is like, wow, if I can't open my front door, I've got to have another way for businesses to buy the stuff that I sell. The cheapest and fastest way to do that is through a website.
Right.
Cool. I'm going to go and make sure I invest time not only in my business and learning how to make the candles or whatever, but also working on my business and understanding what are my pathways to customers and how I can become more resilient, whether it's an ice storm that comes and shuts us down for 2 weeks or something like the pandemic that impacts everybody.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think what people don't understand is that every time you get outside money from your business, it's not customer revenue. You're giving away part of your business and you're losing control over your business. And also like finding and managing investors who like, when people give you money, they want to say in things. And wouldn't you rather have the customers be centered in the say in things? So much of your time, which could be spent building up those customers, gets spent focusing on the investors. Like that is a big job to manage investors.
It is. I'm an angel investor myself, and I'll tell people that are potentially looking for investment, like, hey, I'm looking at a 5 to 7 year window where I'm looking for some sort of return, and that's generally going to be you selling the business, you doing some sort of IPO or some other transaction that goes and gets me
Right.
3-fold my money back, 5-fold, 10-fold my money back. There's only a couple ways that can happen. And for a lot of businesses, they don't understand that those are the kind of things that need to happen for an investor to be happy.
Yeah, so in PitchBlack, the money that the winners, I mean, everyone who participates gets some money, which is amazing. And then the winners get a lot of money. That's not an investment.
Yeah, so it's all non-dilutive capital. It's just a grant. And so for the event this year, we'll get out over $120,000 to Black businesses.
That's amazing.
In the area, either by way of prizes or all the consultants and contractors that we work with are all Black-owned businesses as well. So it's great.
And how does that compare to other events like this, the amount of money that you're giving away?
So this is the largest one-day pitch event for Black businesses in the country, right?
What?
So,
I love that. And it's here in the Portland area, y'all. Be proud of that.
Yeah. And as much as I think what we've learned over the years is it's great being able to give out dollars, but it's more important and more impactful for people to see 600 people in their community cheering them on. Last year, our second place winner, Cardcraft Damola Automojo, amazing engineer. One of the people that attended ended up investing in his business a month later.
Wow. Yeah, it's huge exposure for these brands. But going back to what I was saying about like accelerators, incubators, those programs can be very helpful. One of my things is that I don't think that often like it's government money funding those or maybe foundation money funding those. But here in our area, I don't know if it's this way everywhere. It might be Prosper Portland, Business Oregon. That money has to go through community-based or nonprofit organizations. So, with my accelerator program, I didn't want to be a nonprofit because then I'm spending all this time managing nonprofit things. I just want to get the information out to people, and I could move faster and more nimbly than a nonprofit. But then all those grants weren't available to my company. Do you think that it's better if it is through nonprofits, or do you think I have a point here?
Frankly, I don't care how someone files their taxes, right? I care about their impact. And so whether they're a nonprofit organization or a for-profit, I really think what we need to really have here is a North Star, and being able to say like, hey, it's great that we're starting businesses. How many of our businesses are going past $1 million in revenue? How many of our businesses are going from selling to people in Oregon to selling to people in California and up and down the West Coast? And if we're not helping people scale and do those things, we probably don't have a good chance of really closing things like the wealth gap that we say are so important. Meanwhile, we just have more LLCs and sole proprietorships opening, but they're not scaling and growing in revenue.
Yeah. Let's talk to the allies for a second. Let me roll up my sleeves here. So one thing I come back to when we do panels or when we're just talking, over coffee or something, is that I think there's this stereotype that Black-owned businesses are, we all know about coffee, our local coffee places, but it's like, ooh, I'll get this barbecue sauce from a Black person because Black people know barbecue sauce or hot sauce or this cool fan with an African print, and you've spent $10 and then you think you've been an ally for the whole year. Whereas I want to challenge people to look at their whole portfolio of vendors in their life. So if you are resisting making your attorney a Black or brown owned business, your accountant, your realtor, your mortgage broker, like I think people forget about your consultant service businesses, and they're a really important part of building wealth for Black and brown communities.
I think especially for smaller businesses, right? Like obviously you've got your employees that are helping you, but your partners, your accountant, your insurance agent, your broker, your attorney, all those people are making a huge outsized impact on your business.
Yeah.
Not only when you need them, but more importantly, when you don't even know you need them and they call you and like, hey, I read this thing in that contract, we can't move forward with that. And so finding amazing people, because we have amazing people who also happen to be Black, disabled, LGBTQ, and making that a priority. And instead of going and saying, oh, well, you know, they don't exist, going and saying, no, I assume they probably do exist. Let me ask around. Let me ask some other people in the community who they work with.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be happily surprised with, wow, we have such an amazing landscape of talented service folks that could be helping my business grow, right? And this isn't a nice to have or moral thing. This is I'm going to grow and do a crap ton of more revenue because I'm working with these people who also happen to be people from underrepresented communities.
Well, and they expose your blind spots, because if your whole team is from like dominant cultures, you inevitably have blind spots and you're not serving the whole customer base.
Totally.
And it's not just business. I mean, when I bought my house, I said, you know, this is an opportunity for me to put money back into businesses that maybe couldn't have existed decades ago. So every single person, from my mortgage broker, my insurance broker, my realtor, people who did work on my house, women-owned or people of color-owned businesses, and LGBTQ. That was just a way I wanted to put that back out into the community. So you don't have to own a business in order to have this impact.
Totally. And I think thankfully, you know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we didn't have resources for like, okay, I'm interested in that. Where do I find it?
Yeah.
Today, you've got amazing things. If it's the Black community, the XB app that Adrian and Ronnie Wright run, where you can go on their app and find out about community events and Black businesses that are doing amazing things, where those tools didn't exist years ago. And so the path to being able to connect with these different communities to support buying a house or buying your first car or getting a mortgage is easier and better than ever. And these folks do great work already.
Yes.
Right?
They're working hard for you, because they don't necessarily have the legacy coming through. Like, you know, if I know that I'm not going to just like come into money, or I don't have a safety net, I'm working that much harder for my clients.
Totally.
Yeah. All right. Well, you said events. That means pretty soon it's party time. So when we come back, the top 3 events of the week ahead. Going to tell you during this party segment. First of all, if you need some Zen this weekend, stop by Mr. OK's Essentials on Northeast Alberta. They are open from 11 to 5 Saturday and Sunday. You can walk by and just No, come inside and just feel like that zen. It's so good. Events, PitchBlack, Wednesday, February 7th, sold out. But if you comment, tag, follow Portland Tea Party on Instagram, we have 2 last tickets to give away. So be sure to do that right away today. Other events happening this weekend that might be a little easier to get into. Tonight, the Rip City Remix is having Thrift Night. Thrift and vintage vendors there before the game. I mean, that's the best way to get me to a basketball game, I know. So go check that out. Sunday night, Slick Rick in concert with my favorite DJ, DJ Wicked. You got to check that out. Sunday night is a great night for a concert because you'll go into your week just feeling like, yeah, that's what I do. I ball. Thank you for coming to Portland Tea Party, the show about Portland, the tea, and parties. We'll see you at PitchBlack on Wednesday and next week with a new business, new guests. Check us out. And remember, if you... What are we... Don't complain if you're not going to do something, right? Don't complain about your community unless you're going to do something. Do something.
Have a solution.
We'll see you next week.
Oh, my God.